So my name is Samantha. I am studying the Masters of Teaching, specifically in secondary education, and I'm studying at the University of New South Wales. So at Beverly Hills IEC, we're observing students as they're being taught in English as a second language. At the moment we're doing observations, but we'll be working towards working with them one-on-one in tutoring sessions for the next term. So what we're looking at is their literacy, their writing, their spoken English, as well as how they read. We read them as well, just to get an understanding of how they're comprehending English at the moment.
I'm Michael Harmon. I'm Deputy Principal in charge of Beverly Hills Intensive English Centre, and we've worked with the University of New South Wales people to set up the Master Teacher experience for the students that they've sent us. The way we set it up is to have them here from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock to do some professional learning and share professional learning with us, and then from 3 o'clock until quarter to 5 or 5 o'clock to engage with students that they met last term, to do some tutorial work with them and to map their progress according to their input over time.
Being here has been really helpful because the school that I'm going to is more than 97% students from non-English speaking backgrounds.
Yes. Like, we understand a lot of the concepts and things, but we forget that people who don't particularly like science or haven't got a strong background in it, some of the concepts are very hard to understand. So that understanding of how to get people there that you see from here with literacy, I think you can apply it to science as well in a lot of ways.
Basically, like, don't presume and don't assume. I think I do that all the time. I presume they already know this because it's common knowledge to me, or it's obvious to me. So when we're reading, we're talking about splashing, and then we just move on, and I'm like, wait, do you know what splashing is? And then I have to go back and explain it, and then put yourself in the student's perspective rather than mine. I always forget, like, teaching is about the student, not really about the teacher.
For me, one thing that I have to take forward, I think, in the long run is communication, being considerate in how I put things together, how I phrase things, and actually monitoring them to see if they understand. So getting them to restate it in their own words, I think, was essential.
I think that some students have like a certain push towards like certain subjects that they prefer. So that, like, even in a mainstream school, recognizing that some students are more inclined to work better on certain things than others, you know, and you have to engage them all at the same time.
But I've had a very, very good experience, observation of motivation, and one of the activities that they did was, like, you know how we turn them over and pair it. They were so engaged in the activity, and they wanted to.
Yeah, what does that tell you about what kids need to?
Collectedness, being in
And they feel safe and they can.
That's right.
Being in, belonging in the class.
Yeah. Feeling nurtured, feeling supported, and feeling if I open my mouth, people aren't going to laugh.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sue Olahedge. I'm from the University of New South Wales, and I teach a course in literacy, numeracy and assessment. Some of our students are doing an intensive practicum with the students at Beverly Hills IEC. They're taking part in a homework program where they're working with selected students on their homework tasks, but with a specific focus on supporting their literacy and numeracy needs to complete them effectively.
So my name is Shurobi Chakraborty, and I'm doing Masters of Teaching secondary, which is very, like, we're teachers and students at the same time. At Beverly Hills Intensive English Centre, we come here to learn one of the most important aspects of teaching, which is how to incorporate literacy and numeracy into our teaching. At the centre, we come here so we spend an hour spending very high quality time with the teachers here, who give us very important knowledge about the strategies they use and how we can implement that when we are mentoring students here. So we implement the knowledge that we gain from our university and the teachers here, and we try and help the students here to improve their English.
We started with reading, so the pause, prompt, praise, and also we went through the teaching cycle, teaching and learning cycle, as well as the neurological impress. So it's just different strategies that we're learning to be able to use with our students.
So today we learned about the teaching cycle. We've learned about the teaching cycle so many times, but today we learned about what it actually looks like in practice. So it starts off by being very basic, very guided, and letting the students, giving them like a boundary, like a base on what they are going to do, what they're heading towards, and then getting them to come up with maybe a few words, a few ideas, and then gradually getting them to put them into sentences, and then reducing your scaffolding, and finally letting them do it on their own. Right. So I have two students. They're both from Arabic backgrounds. They can speak fine and they can understand when they're listening, but they're having troubles reading texts and learning, getting meaning from the text.
My name is Majid. I'm from Iraq, and I work with Mr. James, and he helped me with my English, and sometimes he helped me with my homework. Yeah, he's like fine, he's kind. Yeah, he's nice. I still like improving my English, and yeah, like I feel good.
My name is Aya. I come from Syria. This is my teacher. He teach me how to reading and everything. Yeah, good teacher, my best teacher.
She's got some English homework. The idea I got her to do was if I could structure the answers in the same way, and then that way when she moves on to the other pictures, she's got a scaffold to work on.
Today we were looking at these questions that they have to do in science.
Okay.
And there's a lot of terms that they're not sure of.
Some verb, some word.
Words, yeah?
It's very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you feel your level of confidence growing over the...
It's definitely growing. I have to admit I was a little bit apprehensive at the start. I wasn't really sure where to go or where to start. The workshops have been really, really good to get the very first hand practical applications and strategies, and then see how they've been working.
Because the reality is, like, I think especially like if you, for MTeach, right, you've already got an undergrad, it's obviously something you're interested in, right? I'm really interested in science, I think it's cool, and it's always like you go to teach kids and you realize, like a lot of the kids don't think that science is cool. And a lot of them don't understand this concept just because you've explained it to them. Mm-hmm. And also that idea of when you're explaining stuff or when you're talking to them, really like slowing down and choosing your words and making sure that you're actually communicating with them rather than just kind of talking at them.
My struggle was trying to accommodate and adjust to get them to be interested. Like I wasn't sure what I had to do, like drawing diagrams, but it's also combined with the fact that they're tired at the end of the day. But I think you learn that you have to use different techniques, you always have to switch it up, like just to shorten my activities a little bit, because especially with Year 7s, they're so rowdy and they lose the attention so fast. Yeah, and so if you split it up, it definitely keeps them engaged.
I think my biggest challenge has been communicating the same thing but with fewer words. I've just said a million different things at 100 miles an hour, and of course you don't understand what I'm trying to explain to you.
It would be to do with deconstructing things. Why do I do it the way that I do it? And for you to communicate that to students, I think effectively is really tricky as well.
You've had an hour of input before you go and work with the students. How has that worked for you, having pedagogical input?
It's incredibly helpful because of all the strategies that you guys have shown to us and also demonstrated like last week. That was amazing to watch because it's well and good in theory, but if I can't see it in practice and see the kind of all the issues that surround like moving tables and like getting into pairs,
I also think it sort of helped me to feel like more a part of the community.
like the teaching community here, because we have very close relationships with, you know, a lot of staff here. It's really nice to be afforded that opportunity, and I think it would be different if we were kind of just turning up, meeting our student, saying hello or whatever, and then sort of proceeding with that. It's actually really good to have that guidance from people that are experienced, especially in this area of education.
Almost every week we learn something new, a new strategy, and then it's still in our mind when we actually can go and implement it straight away and then see what outcomes we get. So we're learning it, we're implementing it, and then we're getting feedback straight away.
What you've got out of this last is a kind of quite a radical sensitivity to students, quite a deep sensitivity, and it probably, I think, of a kind that's it can take some teachers, many teachers, many years to develop. I think the sensitivity you've got in this last months. And I mean, there's all sorts of things to learn about teaching, but you can't learn anything if you haven't got the sensitivity and you're sort of cueing into a feedback kind of system where you're learning from your environment and the kids you're teaching. So it seems to me you've kind of got something that you're going to take away from this, which will continue to kind of develop your teaching and your thinking.